Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host Keegan, and this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And I've got some questions for you, real quick. First off, are you feeling a little lost with your ideas? Have you got a great forecast for your future self, but you don't know how you're going to get there? Well, my guest today is a man who's rewritten the playbook himself on the field, in business, and in life. John Diggs is a former NFL linebacker and went to become a mortgage mogul and also had some bumps and twists along the way. But along that, he created something called map engineering. I'm pretty sure I just butchered that, didn't I?
Yeah, we'll get it right. It's Mappineering.
Mappineering. There we
Yeah.
go. And the I am system, correct?
Yes. Yes,
So
sir.
two powerful tools that you created, and they have helped reshape your life and a whole bunch of other people's lives now too. So how are you doing today, sir?
Life is great, Keegan. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and share my Mappineering message with you and your audience. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you very much for coming on the show, because it is not every day that you get to speak to someone that used to be in the NFL, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Slight correction too. I played defensive back, not linebacker. I'm not that
Ah,
big. I wish I was
ah.
bigger. I wish I was big. But yeah, I was a little smaller guy. So yeah, it would have been something if I played linebacker. That's for sure.
Well, that is my bad. I'm not
No
very
worries.
much
Yeah.
of a football person. I'm more of a soccer person, so
Oh,
the
nice.
original football, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. Nice.
so you actually kind of break one of those stereotypes, if you will, whenever it comes to playing football. A lot of people think that it's like, oh, you're just all brawn, no brain. But here you are. You got a lot of brain with you too, huh?
Yeah, I had to. Something's in this big ass head I got. Yeah, I think it's the brain. Yeah, it's the brain. Yeah, I've had an interesting journey that, yeah, that had got me more cerebral than probably most athletes are known for. That's for sure.
Mm. Cerebral is in not hitting your head too many times, right? Because I've gotten a fair amount of concussions myself, and it sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does. I got knocked out a couple of times, but yeah, I'm still aware of stuff, and I'm not crazy that I know of. Too crazy.
But I mean, that's the best kind of crazy too, right?
Right.
But enough of brain injuries and stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like where you came from in the terms of
Yeah.
like what got you to create something that you now use as a tool for yourself and others?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, first, starting out, born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
Ooh.
Like most, you know, African American children, I was that same, low income, broken home.
Mm,
Didn't have a lot, but I had a lot of love, but not a lot of other things. Put it that way. And
mm.
good thing I fell in love with the game of football, and that passion ultimately led me to Washington State University. Go Cougs! Gotta say that. And several years in the NFL, like we just talked about. And after retiring in '95, mainly due to the two screws in my right knee, I parlayed my life into the mortgage industry and ultimately end up building one of Southern California's largest mortgage brokerages from 2002 to 2007.
Oh wow.
And the story is that I actually made more money playing, as a mortgage guy than I ever did playing professional football. And was living this crazy millionaire lifestyle as a businessman, and
Hmm.
with the fancy big houses and cars, and the travels and wife, kids, picket fence, dog, all that stuff. I mean, really living this insanely abundant life. All was well until 2007, and the mortgage meltdown hit.
Mm.
And I went from making a solid six-figure income to trying to scrape a couple $1,000s a month.
Mm.
And that began this complete disruption of my life. I mean,
Mm.
everything that I loved and lived for, I lost in a short period of time. I mean, not just my business, but my homes, my cars. I even lost my wife and kids at the time.
Mm.
And it was really the lowest part of my life.
Yeah.
And to the point where, I did have thoughts of taking my life, and it
Mm.
was really super bad when, I had to move out had to go to our apartment we just got evicted out of,
Uh,
and walked into my little girl's bedroom, and it was empty and bare, and it just felt like a Mike Tyson shot to my chest, and
mm-hmm.
buckled me, and I collapsed on the floor and just cried out loud like a newborn for the whole night. It was a
Mm.
toughest night. It was April 27, 2009. I'll never forget it.
Oh wow.
And yeah, but that next morning, Keegan, I
Mm.
woke up like a new man. It was almost like my soul was scrubbed. It was like the old me had died, kind
Yeah.
of everything, that ego stuff, everything was just stripped from me.
Mm.
And I kind of woke up with a new perspective and of life, that, really believing that it could not get much worse than this.
Mm.
It was that bad. So the only thing I can do is move up, and
Mm.
move forward from this point. So luckily, my mom let me come stay at her house, and I actually slept on a couch that I bought for her. And when I went to my mom's, I actually took with me just three things. I took a bicycle,
Mm.
a gym bag full of gym clothes, and this big ass box that was just full of just motivational books, tapes, CDs, and things that I've collected over the years, always into self improvement stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had to take that box to my mom and revisit that box to
Mm.
rebuild my life, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I did that, and as I started going through the box, there I pulled out this book called the Mind Map book by Tony Buzan. Um,
Mm.
I personally don't remember ever buying it. I think someone must have given it to me or something at somewhere in my past, and
Uh-huh.
but for whatever reason, it really resonated with me at this point. So I read it and made the powerful decision to spend the next 3 to 4 months mind mapping every book and thing that was in that big ass box. I mean, all day, every day, I just grabbed a book and was just started to mind map. And
Mm-hmm.
this was my true first introduction to the power of mind mapping.
Huh.
'Cause, yeah, this experience caused me to do several things. First it was active learning. I started
Mm-hmm.
active learning. So most of us, when we read books, it's more like a passive learning because we're just sitting there reading. We may underline or highlight some things, put something in the margins, but when you go to mind map, you're actually reading sentences, paragraphs, and chapters, really looking for keywords or short phrases you can take to actually put on your mind map.
Hmm.
So I didn't know that then, but now it was really active learning. I was more engaged with the material that I was reading than I ever did the first time reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Then another thing that I learned later that was happening with this experience was that it was stimulating what is called meaningful learning. So active
Mm.
learning, meaningful learning. Meaningful learning mean that as I was taking those key words and short phrases out of there
Mm-hmm.
and putting it on my mind map, it compelled me to take that information and compare it to what I already knew. So it was
Oh.
new learning layered on top of old learning, which is the definition of meaningful learning, is when you take something new and apply it to what you already know.
Uh-huh.
So in essence, I was reading these books and I was getting a much greater perspective and deeper understanding than I ever did before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing this, and it was crazy. I was just so excited and passionate about this that I literally had like 40 or 50 of these big mind map poster boards like all over my mother's house. She was freaking out. Like, what the hell is all of this stuff in my house? She would come home from work and I just got the floor just full with all of these mind maps. And,
Uh-huh.
and she didn't, and I was telling her mom that this is changing my life.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't understand, at the point of what I was talking about, but I was really feeling like what was being shared, people were actually literally talking to me. You know what I mean? Not just me
Mm-hmm.
reading a book of people, some author, Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, all these guys just talking to whoever picks the book up. I
Uh-huh.
thought Tony Robbins was literally talking to me, about a lot of things. It was interesting. But after those 3 or 4 months that I did this exercise literally all day, every day, I'm talking about 14 hours a day, I was just a man on a mission with doing this practice. But
Uh-huh.
I walked away with two things that really transformed my life of what mind mapping enabled me to do by doing this exercise. It allowed me to see the similarities of all of the different messages.
Hmm.
What Tony Robbins was saying, how similar that was to Wayne Dyer, and what Wayne
Mhm.
Dyer was saying that was similar to Dale Carnegie. I mean, all of this stuff was just resonating inside of me. And I walked away with two big distinctions. The first is that all of them was all talking about the purpose of loving our lives, the
Mm.
purpose of living our best lives. That is truly the purpose of life, is just to love it. They all had all of their different thought process and perspective systems on how to do it.
Yeah.
All of them was talking about you do it this way to live your best life. Even I started to relate that to a lot of what the prophets were saying. Jesus, Muhammad, all of them is saying, hey, you do these things, you'll live a better life. And so
Mm-hmm.
I started to resonate with, dang, well, life is really meant to be loved.
Uh-huh.
Got it. But then the second thing I came away with is, that in order for me to truly love and live my best life, I have to get clear on who I am first and
Mm.
what loving life means to me, not to
Mm-hmm.
someone else, but really to me. So
Mm.
for the next 3 to 4 months, I started developing what is now known as the I am mind map, to where it was a mind map to really get clear on what's most important to me in my life.
Mm.
And that was a very, very powerful chapter and experience in my life, because it was just some really heartfelt, deep, thought provoking, authentic conversations I had with myself and my higher
Mm.
power on what do I want to do. After I did that experience, I started vibrating differently. I started believing, I started living more with intention and purpose. Then
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe I started to attract good things in my life. So much so that, again, from moving to my mom's, I went through this whole process, and it was about 8.5, 9 months later, I
Mm-hmm.
landed a high six figure paying job,
Oh.
uh, and transformed my life. But I tell you, Keegan, I'm absolutely certain that what allowed me to do that fast transformation was the clarity that mind mapping gave me. I
Mm.
was able to see and process things and understand things and kind of create a roadmap on how to navigate through this storm
Mm-hmm.
like no other tool I've ever experienced. And from there, I went on to build one of the country's top mortgage software development companies. I designed the infrastructure for mortgage banks,
Mm.
and that allowed me to live this amazing life from 2010 to COVID. Then
Mm.
in 2020, when COVID hit and we were quarantined, I said, you know what? Since the world has changed and I'm stuck in this house, now it's time for me to start writing books and really trying to share my message with people about what this mind mapping tool
Mm-hmm.
done for my life and what it can possibly do for their lives. And since COVID, I've written 10 books. I've become an international best-selling author. I actually did a TEDx talk on this actual depth of this transformation I just kind of highlighted.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm just so passionate, despite playing professional football, which was something I just love to do,
Uh-huh.
in a top mortgage company, which was something that, just I was just inspired by the money primarily. Then, owning one of, the country's top software development companies, which I loved because it gave me the lifestyle that I wanted to live. None of that is giving me the passion and fulfillment of just sharing this message to try to make a difference in people's lives with this easy, practical, but very, very powerful tool called a mind map. And
Oh.
that I'm howling at the moon and talking to anybody and everybody who wants to hear it. And that led me to your show, which again, I thank you for having me. Let me talk about this.
Of course. That is quite the story. And might I say, congratulations on all the ups and the downs because you
Yeah,
didn't let the downs keep you down. And that's important.
yeah,
So,
very,
uh,
very important.
and you not only came out of it with tools, you successfully used them and shown that it works. And then not only that, you've also turned it back around saying it's not about the money. It's more about the connection. It's more about helping people improve their life. It's about sharing how to feel good with yourself and really creating a roadmap to get there, quite literally, because a lot of us don't really know how to get there, you know?
Right, right. And the mind map is a perfect tool to bridge that gap
Mm-hmm.
from dream to reality,
Yeah.
from stress to strategy kind of deal. And for those who aren't familiar with what a mind map is, I like to just call it it's a visual information management tool,
Mm.
meaning it's a visual way to see and manage everything that you're thinking about,
Mm.
whatever is going through your mind. It could be a problem, a decision, a goal, things in your past that aren't complete, planning a trip, deciding to get married. I mean, whatever you're thinking about, you can build a mind map for, and to gain greater perspective and get greater understanding of whatever it is you got swirling in your mind. And
Mm-hmm.
how that actually looks is that you could just take a piece of paper or a napkin and a crayon, it doesn't matter, put it in a landscape form, just put in the center of it whatever the topic of your mind map will be. Again, a problem,
Ooh.
decision, goal, whatever it is. Then
Uh-huh.
from there, you just start to just let everything come out of your mind as it relates to that central topic.
Hmm.
Just put it out there on paper.
Uh-huh.
Don't overjudge it. Don't critically think it, because that will stifle all your creative juices. Just anything that comes up as it relates to that central topic, just place it on your mind map.
Hmm.
By doing that, now you can link all of those topics to the central topic. Now you can start brainstorming everything that you put on your map, from, what is it, who is it, why is it, what does it mean, what is this out? And now you start branching out on all these other little subtopics. And when you're when you do this effectively, when you're done with this exercise, you can look at your map, push it back and look at your map, and you will see things that you never thought to see when it was just stuck in your head.
Hmm.
You're gaining so much perspective on what was going on in your head that it always um, empowers you, enlightens you, inspires you, gives you certainty and clarity, that it's impossible to get when we got thoughts just crisscrossing and bouncing around our skull and mind and uncontrolled. And that's where a lot of people, I think, feel overwhelmed, overloaded, stressed, is because they got all of this stuff going in here. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
how to organize it. They don't know how to sort it out. They don't know how to manage it. And a mind map will calm all of that down and allow you to put it in a way where now it's like a puzzle that you're kind of putting together to
Mm.
make sure you are properly thinking about whatever it is you're thinking about.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh, and I love that you're going into how to create it and what it's supposed to really look like in the end, because whenever I hear mind map, the first thing that comes to my mind is have you seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And whenever he's sitting there with his conspiracy board and just everything
Right,
all over the place, like that's
right.
my kind of mind map. It's like, all right,
Yeah,
and here we go. But you're saying that there's a structure to it, that there's something you can actually get out of it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because, for instance, I use this Mappineering exercise with all of my clients, and it could be very valuable for you and your listeners. Is that I call it the 5 W's plus 1 H mind map,
Okay,
right? So let's just use a problem as an example. Put the
gotcha.
title of your problem in the center of your page,
Okay.
whatever you want to label it. Then from there, you want to put who, what, where, when, why, and how, just around the central topic. Now you start with who, and just ask yourself who's involved with this question or with this
Mm-hmm.
problem. Who needs to be involved? Who shouldn't be involved with this problem? Who can I contact to help me with this problem? Just every who question you can think about as it relates to that problem, add it to your map. Then you go down to what?
Okay.
What is actually happening with this problem? What is
Mm-hmm.
occurring? What should happen? What shouldn't happen? All of the what questions that you can think about as it relates to that problem. Then
Mm-hmm.
you do the same thing with when, you do the same thing with where, you do the same thing with why, you do the same thing with how. Just brainstorm all of those specific five W's and H's questions as it relates to your problem. Once you do that, now you can step back and look at your mind map, and you will see your problem in a whole new different perspective than
Hmm.
you ever did when it was just swirling in your mind.
Huh.
And Keegan, yes, always yes, your solution to your problem reveals itself.
Mm.
It
Mm.
illuminates because
Yeah.
now you can see all of the components. You can
Oh no. Um.
did we drop?
Oh, yeah. You're back. You're back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're
what I
good.
Yeah, what I was just saying is that when you do this exercise, you can see all of the particulars of the problem in a way that you would have never saw it when it was just swirling in your mind and causing all that overwhelm and stress and mental anxiety. Now you got all of the particulars of the problem. And this is what happens a lot when my clients and people come to me with a problem. They're all stressed up and, "Oh, I can't don't know what to do," and and this, that, and the other. And I'll walk them through this process. And you can literally see it every time. The person relax. They're
Ooh.
calm. They're more chill now because now it's not a personal problem. It's like they're looking at it in a third person position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now see the problem over there. So now they're more calm about what they're looking at, which naturally opens them up to the possibility of solutions because they're
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily attached to it like it was when it was stuck in their mind. Now it's
Mm.
here. Now they can see it. And again, I can't stress it enough. I've done this so many times personally and with other people that the next best step to address that problem, it illuminates, it becomes clear what a person
Mm.
needs to do to solve the problem because now they can see it in a way they've never saw it before. So that's just a one tool. And that five W's and H's, instead of just a problem in the middle, you can put a decision that you got to make. The same thing. Put the title of the decision, who, what, where, and where, why, and how that's associated to this decision.
Mm-hmm.
Goal. You can put anything in that center and just put those five W's and H, and you will gain a deeper understanding and perspective of whatever it is you got swirling in here that's out of control and
Mm.
crisscross. That help
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it totally does. And that's one of the things too is that you would mention something about whenever you put it down on paper, it helps you to detach from it. And that's one of the things
Mhm.
that keeps a lot of people just kind of stuck in their shit,
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
just some for some reason there's like this emotional attachment that if it's up in here, it's mine. And so I
Right,
don't want to let go of that problem. But
right.
so how do you guide some of those people that don't have an easy time just putting stuff on paper?
Yeah,
Because it makes it real, right?
yeah, yeah. And I just encourage them to just give it a try. And every client and student and mentee that I deal with, yeah, it always works. It always works. That once they do it, they now are detached from the problem. It's not a personal thing.
Mhm.
Now they got some structure and organization that they never had as it related to this problem. And
Mhm.
now they have a tool that they can use as a roadmap, task list, or action sheet, whatever you want to call it, on what they need to do to resolve the problem with confidence. And,
Ooh.
and, and I've also seen a lot of people, most of us, when we have a problem, and we don't know how to sort it out, we're going to call somebody or talk to somebody about it. But when we go and talk to somebody about it, it's so swirling in our head that we're probably not giving that person we're seeking advice from a clear
Mm.
enough picture to get proper feedback back. Most of us are
Mhm.
only telling our side of the story, or maybe just one of those topics. They're only talking about what happened, not the who, the when, the where's, the whys, and the hows. They're only talking
Yeah.
about one, so they're getting advice back that's
Mhm.
incomplete because they wasn't really clear on what the true problem was. So a lot of the people that I work with, I encourage them to go through this exercise, then go talk to someone else.
Mm.
Then go maybe even share that mind map with your spouse, with your parent, with somebody that you trust, and be like, look, man, here's how I see this problem. If that person may add some things on there that you didn't see.
Yeah.
But now that person has a clear enough picture on what you believe the problem is to give you some valuable feedback on how to move forward versus most of us were complaining and talking about a problem that's skewed and distorted and one-sided, only talking about their side, and all of that. And
Yeah.
hoping this person gives them good feedback on a part of the story. So I
Yeah.
mean that's just one example that people can use to help manage their mental health is the 5 W's plus 1 H mind map. Very, very
Ooh.
powerful.
Yeah, that is very powerful. It seems like it covers all the bases and then some.
Mhm.
And so then you use that itself to help you find out your I am, correct?
Yes, yes. Like I had mentioned before, that last section, those last 3, 4 months at my mom's house, you know,
Mm-hmm.
again, I wasn't doing this to write a book or do a TEDx talk on it or anything. I mean, this was like 15 years ago now. I was
Mm-hmm.
just doing it just for my own personal, it was like divine guidance, if you will, that you need to do this. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just really started asking myself some questions about what's most important to John Diggs? Who is John Diggs? Not
Mm-hmm.
what I was told, not my title, not that I'm a football player, mortgage person, a dad. No, who am I at my core? I spent 3, 4 months of just constantly all day, every day mapping that out. And I ultimately came up with 4 key anchors or
Hmm.
topics that relate to who I am. And that was
Okay.
health. There's nothing more important than my health. I put that on my mind map. I put I am in the center, and I put health, I put wealth, I put success, and I put happiness. Those were my 4 key anchors that I believe that I needed to give attention
Hmm.
to clarify who I am, to love and live my best life. And what mind mapping does is that once you get to a certain level, like I said, I just branched out to those 4 anchors.
Mm-hmm.
I started then to proceed to the next step, which was, all right, what does health mean? That's so general. When I say I'm healthy, I mean, what am I really talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
So as I spent hours and hours and hours thinking about that, I landed on spiritual health, mental health, and physical health.
Mm.
Then I went down to wealth. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what does wealth mean? Is it really just about money? And I was like, well, wait a minute. Wealth is about abundance. That's what
Mm-hmm.
wealth means. You have an abundance of something. So I started asking myself, what would I need an abundance of to truly love and live my best life? Then
Mm.
again, after hours and hours of thinking, I landed on I wanted an abundance of positive emotions. I wanted an abundance, a wealth of specialized knowledge, skills in
Mm-hmm.
certain areas. And I
Yeah.
wanted a wealth of freedom, which also
Oh.
included financial freedom.
Yeah.
Then I moved over to success. I was like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, what the hell does success mean? That's just general. What do I want to be successful in?
Uh-huh.
Then again, after many hours of grappling with this, I wanted to have successful relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have successful results, and I wanted to
Mm.
have successful rewards. Added those to my I am mind map. Then I went to happiness. What the hell needs to happen for me to truly be happy?
Mm-hmm.
Truly be happy.
Yeah.
And after times of thinking about this, I landed on I need to be blessed for my past. Meaning
Ooh.
anytime I think about my past, whether
Mm-hmm.
good or bad experiences, I need to be blessed for those experiences. Feel the
Mm-hmm.
feeling of blessedness. I survived those bad times, that hardship.
Mm-hmm.
I came out better
Mm-hmm.
because of that 2008 hardship. So
Uh-huh.
I need to be blessed for that. At the same time, for me to be happy, I need to also be grateful for my future.
Mm.
Anything that's coming to me. I don't need to be scared, or fear or anything. I need to be grateful for all that stuff that's coming to me that's going to cause me to grow, expand, learn, be better.
Mm-hmm.
This. If I can be blessed, feel grateful for my future,
Mm-hmm.
and be fulfilled in the present moment right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be happy. So I added that to my mind map. So that was like the basics of my I am mind map process that really transformed who was at the time to walk in and an energy to attract so many great things in my life, and
Hmm.
so many great experiences because I knew I was vibrating with confidence. I was walking now on purpose with intention and I knew who I was and where I was going and how I was living my life. And
Hmm.
like I said, I did that from 2000, late 2009, that I look at my I am mind map to the, every day, essentially, even all the way up to today. It's been 15 going on 16 years later. But I do it to reset myself, to refocus myself, to declare to God and to the world, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to show up today. Despite
Yeah.
what's going on in my life, I am so clear on who I am now that, yeah, I'm more committed to my happiness and who I'm being in the world than other people are to being negative,
Hmm.
downtrodden, gossipy, bringing all that negative stuff. I'm such now where I just repel all of that. When people come to me complaining or crying, stuff, I'm just confident that ultimately by the end of that call,
Hmm.
they're going to be more in my energy space than I will be in theirs.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Because people come to you whenever they're worried, whenever they're fearful, whenever they're just overall scared, anxious, the things that are uh, otherwise really difficult to deal with. But
Mhm.
whenever they come to you, they're looking for some form of clarity and stuff. And you're not just sitting there handing it to them on a silver platter. You're
No.
saying, this is how you do it, and you need to figure out the answers for yourself because you totally
Yeah.
understand that happiness is personal.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
that.
And who you are is personal. So
Uh-huh.
anytime I have a new person working with me with various issues, I mean, I work with students, I work with student athletes from high school to professionals. I work with adults, retirees, empty nesters, people that are suffering loss, divorce,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that may be. Work with
Yeah.
a wide range of people with various different issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I always start with let's get clear on your I am mind map first.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get clear on who you are and who you are intending to become because
Mm-hmm.
that will affect everything else. That will affect everything else we work on has to be built on a solid foundation of clarity about who you are and your intentions on how you're living with your life because I
Mm-hmm.
can help you reach a goal, but you may get to that goal and not find that fulfillment you want because it's not
Ooh.
alignment with who you want to be.
Ooh.
So let's start here with getting clear with who you are first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been working so well because what I've been finding, Keegan, is that
Mm-hmm.
most of us have never consciously decided who we are.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
ask people who are you, and you're gonna get a whole bunch of uhs and duhs and I'm a football player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so and so's father. You get all this surface stuff, but really consciously from the
Mm-hmm.
depth of your soul, congruently, authentically saying, "This is who I am because I
Mm-hmm.
did this work." It's transformative. It really is. It transforms a lot of people because now they're walking in a space of 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 power,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not arrogant power. It's like a divine power. It's like you're walking on purpose and intention, and it's amazing, man. I mean, I've seen it so many times, and I like to tell this story real quick about my 16-year-old daughter. She's
Uh-huh.
all my three girls built their IM mind map some time ago, and they're evolving it and working it, and so funny. Last year, my 16-year-old, I was picking her up from school, and she kept ranting and raving about this boy named Andrew that she's liking, and they're talking. And naturally, as a dad, I'm like la 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 la. I don't want to hear all of that. But then, some time went by where she wasn't getting in the car talking about this boy. So, I kind of,
Mm.
it dawned on me and I was like, what's up with Andrew? What happened? What's going
Mm-hmm.
on? She's like, oh, Dad, I broke it up with him. I was like, really? Why? What happened? She was like, Dad, he did not fit on my I am mind map. I was like, I was like, Oh, I was like, yes, yes. But that's like one story of many I can share with you that people that go through this I am process, they get so clear on who they are and where they're going that they now have the inspiration, the confidence
Uh-huh.
to make adjustments in relationships and jobs. And they're not doing it from an angry asshole way. They're just doing it from a God loving way of this is my purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and this is no longer serving me to get to my purpose. So I'm making an adjustment, and I'm no longer afraid to make this adjustment. I'm no
Mm.
longer, hesitant to end this terrible relationship or work in a toxic work environment. All of these things that people just suffer from
Mm-hmm.
mentally. And it's primarily because I think they haven't really got clear on who they are and what they want to the depth to have the confidence to go do it, to
Yeah.
be it. So that's just a lot of my passion with this I am. And like I kind of share with you a little bit, mind maps can be done for everything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
thousands, millions of different things you can mind map for, but
Uh-huh.
there's not one mind map more important than your I am mind map. I
Mm.
suggest and highly encourage all you and all of your listeners, do yourself a favor and just one time just create your own I am mind map. You got to give yourself that blessing because the clarity you'll see in so many different areas of your life that um, you will be happy you did.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Real quick, where can everyone find you if they're looking for a little bit of help with their I am mind map? There we go.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a
in
tongue twister.
addition, yeah, no, yeah. In addition to, just johndiggs.com, I'm all over social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. I post a lot of content all the time on all of those channels, just trying to let people know how the different ways this tool can be used,
Okay.
trying to touch, move, and inspire people to do it. But anyone can always reach out to me at john@johndiggs.com. This is my passion. This is my divine mission. I feel like
Ooh.
sometimes the Blues Brothers, I'm on a mission from God. You know,
Yeah.
I'm on a mission from God. I feel like that a lot because, despite being a football player and all of that stuff,
Hmm.
this is my juice. This is it. I love talking about it and hopefully transforming lives because, despite making all the money I made and doing all of the stuff that I do, it's no feeling like knowing that you helped someone else.
Hmm.
There's nothing you can't buy that feeling when somebody looks at you and say thank you, you made a difference, and that's my juice, that's my passion, that's what I work hard for to get those moments. And so with that, any of you people listening to this, if you have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. Here to guide you to live your best life.
Yeah. Uh, Much appreciated for that shout out for yourself and for everything else that's gone on in your life to help bring you to that because it is one of those things that whenever you feel like you're on the right path, there's
Mhm.
something that just can't really push you off,
Mm-mm.
and it definitely feels like something tries, but there's once you're on lock, it's kind of there.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm really glad that you found that and you help people find that for themselves too, which is
Mhm.
incredibly powerful. And it's one of those things that you're right, money cannot buy that kind of feeling.
Not at
So,
all. Not at all, man. Trust me. I tried I tried to buy a bunch of stuff to, give me fulfillment and happiness, and it was all surface level
mhm.
stuff. And this core feeling that I get with helping people is just, yeah, it's priceless. And I'm planning to spend the rest of my days on this earth, with intentions on trying to impact at least one person every day,
Ooh.
just to get that feeling in my heart. And, with that, Keegan, again, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you more than you know for just allowing me to come share with your message, just share with your audience. I hope, this was useful and valuable,
Oh yeah.
to you and your folks, man. This was super cool. Thanks again.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's super cool having you on because again, I don't think I've spoke to anyone else in the NFL yet, so like it's definitely an honor there. And
So
we get to actually see behind the curtains whenever we're talking about something such as growth mindset and everything like that. And so I really appreciate the honesty and vulnerability that you presented, because you didn't say it's all been fun and games
mhm,
100% of the way through. You had your struggles, and that's
yeah,
important to realize, because you even said you have to be able to look back on the past and be able to say, I've been blessed, even if it sucked, you
yeah.
know?
You
And
survived. You're still
yeah,
here.
yeah. And so you also highlighted the whole fact that we have to be looking forward with hope and expectation of good things coming in the future instead of fear.
Yeah.
And that is a huge thing too, because I used fear as my deciding factor in a lot of things. And that led me down a long road of addiction that really sucked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that if I figured out, like, because I even came to this conclusion not too long ago, I don't really know who I am yet. But for my reasoning, it was because I didn't think I was going to live this long, so I didn't really care to, you know?
Right.
And so
Right.
now that I'm at this point, it's like, well, damn, I wish I knew. But you're
Mhm.
also saying that a lot of people just don't know
No,
themselves.
don't know.
And so it's amazing work that you're doing, because you're helping people bring them to themselves, which ultimately just helps bring that personal happiness and everything else that follows. So
Yep.
you're just not just one drop making big waves. You're a big wave making bigger waves.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best. God willing, I can make a tidal wave here, a big tsunami
Oh
around the
yeah.
world, just to help this world of people be better and live better and love better,
Mm-hmm.
love more.
Mm,
Love life more. Yeah,
yeah.
is my passion and my mission, man. Thank you. I'm always here for you if you need anything.
Of course. And same goes out to you, because I mean, a lot of people kind of sort of know, maybe not, but I'm trying to get Retrieving Sanity into be a nonprofit of some sorts for mental
Hmm.
health resources and services.
Hmm.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll have to call you up and be like, hey, you're our mind map engineer.
Please stay in touch with me because I just count me in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Anything that you have or going or planning on or now or in the future, that you think I can add value to, don't hesitate to reach out to me, brother. I'm here for you. I love your message. I've researched about you and just connecting with you now in this space. You're a great person trying to do great things, and I want to partner with people like you all day just to try to impact, cause positive change in the world. So just count me
Well,
in, brother. I'm with you.
well, I really appreciate that. I really, really do. That means a lot. And again, the offer goes to you as well. If you can think of anything that I can help with, just
Hmm.
say it and I'll be there.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Of course. But real quick, we do have a small game show little segment
Yeah, let's
for you. Are
do
you
it.
ready?
Yeah,
All
I'm ready,
right.
man. Let's do it.
So, everyone, today we're going to play Map It or Scrap It with John Diggs. I'm going to give him a few prompts, and he's going to decide if it's something that should be mapped out with his mind mapping process, or if it's something that should be scrapped because it's just probably not aligned or too distracting or just something else. So,
Hmm.
John, are you ready to play?
I am ready.
All right. So, question number one. Launching in three side hustles at once to keep up with the bills. Should we map that or scrap it?
Definitely map it.
Map it.
Definitely map it because it'll give you clarity on all of those side hustles. It'll give you insight to which of those side hustles deserve your most attention. And it will give you some insight on how to maybe make one of those side hustles your primary hustle. It
Ooh,
give you insight which one of those side hustles give you the most joy. I would definitely say map it out
okay.
first, then decide to scrap it. If it
Ooh.
doesn't,
If it doesn't line up, okay. I love
yeah, but
that.
at least you looked at it in depth before you just scrapped it without doing the due diligence.
Ooh, okay. Thank you. Much
Yeah.
appreciated, sir. And number two, trying to get your ex back to complete the healing.
Ooh,
Yeah. Some
good
people,
Lord. Trying to get your ex back to complete your healing. I would
Mm-hmm.
probably say map that to see what the reasoning is that you have that she is
Ooh.
needed to complete your healing,
Ooh,
or
yeah.
you have to take that step to heal. That
Ooh.
would probably, let's analyze, let's map that out a little bit to see if that's truly what you need to do to heal yourself.
Ooh.
First is what I would then, yeah, map it and figure it out. Then, like I said on the first one, then once you kind of get greater perspective of it, then decide if it's worth scrapping or rekindling with the ex.
Oh yeah, I love that. You're sitting there saying, "Why should I?" instead of that is the question that needs to be answered.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that. All right. Number 3, saying yes to every opportunity to prove your worth.
Ooh, yeah. See, this is where that I am mind map will come in, because
Mm,
you start to realize when you get clear on who you are and self actualize and live with intention on purpose, you start to realize that you don't need to do externally to anything to prove your worth.
mm,
You feel your worth inside of you, and there's not one thing you need to do to validate that, I guess. You know,
mm,
uh, so yeah, I would definitely map that from the context that, maybe reframe that thought that you need to do something to prove how awesome you are. And I truly believe that all of us are born with unique abilities, unique talents, and unique gifts that make us worth being alive on this planet, you know, that we need to research, define, discover, and map out.
mm,
What is truly your gifts, your passions, your desires. And yeah, and once you do that, then you'll know exactly what to do to feel that worthy feeling, kind of like what I was saying of um, I'm totally convinced that, my value and my worth is to cause and create positive change in people, and I'm not doing it for any external reason other
mm,
than just my internal feeling and belief that this is God's plan for me.
mm.
Yeah. So, and that's what I would suggest people do is to map that out again and get clear on yourself, because you may find that, what you think you may need to do to be worthy of something is not it.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that shit to feel valuable and worthy.
Yeah.
So I would say to map it, and to in short to all of your questions, I would say map it before you scrap
Gotcha.
it.
All right, we'll keep that in mind moving forward. All right. Thank you very much for that explanation as well. And number 4, I should journal every day, but I'm going to throw away the books whenever I'm full, whenever they're full. Sorry. So journal, but without rereading.
Yeah, see, a mentor told me one time, he said, John, our brains are meant for processing, not data storage.
Mm,
And this was in conversation about journaling, which I now talk about as far as mind mapping.
mm,
There is great benefit to getting stuff out of your mind into a journal or onto a mind map, because you don't, we got only a certain amount of RAM in here, like a computer,
uh-huh.
and as the older we get, I think it's, the more stuff we store on our hard drive, like a computer, it's harder to process. It's
Mm,
harder to make decisions. It's harder to deal with certain things when you need it to process right away. Like computers, it's hard to
mm,
do if it doesn't have enough memory or if it doesn't have enough space. So I would say definitely journal, for sure, for one, to get things out of your mind to
mm.
improve your mental processing. But I would encourage you just to keep them, don't discard them, because at some point in your life, you may want to review some of the things you wrote 5, 10 years ago to be blessed about your past and how far you've come,
Ooh.
how you've evolved. And
Uh-huh.
these journals may be valuable to your kids or your grandkids one day, just to see what granddad was thinking. They could be a gift to some people along lines to see your evolution and your thought processing if it's not just for yourself, but I've been journaling and for a long time, and now I kind of mind map my journals now, just to dump things out of my mind, and I keep them all because there are times when I'd like to go back and see what was going on in my mind, in 2016, and what I used to believe to be true then that's not now, and what I like then and I like now. So it could be kind of an experience that you might find fruitful and exciting in your future. So I recommend journaling, but
Mm-hmm.
just archive them somewhere, and just because you may change your mind and want to look at them, I wouldn't toss them.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right. And number 5, getting the chance to go on your dream vacation, but you have to go next week. Would you
Go next
map?
week.
Would
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
map it,
Yeah,
right?
I would immediately map it and figure out how I need what all of the things I need to do to enjoy my trip next week. And that's another thing that I do a lot with that 5 W's and H mind map
uh,
is trip planning.
ooh.
And I do this and I teach this a lot is, in the center, just put in there where your dream vacation is and who, what, when, where, why, and how, and who's going with you. Who do you need to contact? What are you going to do when you get there? When do you plan to go? Where exactly are you going? Why are you going right now? And how are you going to get there? I mean, once you map all of that out, it's going to totally reduce the stress of having to go next week. Yeah, because now you at least got an understanding of, all right, these are all of the things that need to happen,
Yeah.
kind of deal. So I would map that too.
All right. Glad to hear. Number 6, waiting for motivation before you act. Do you map out your motivation or do you just wait for it?
You have to map out your motivation.
Ooh.
You have to figure out again the who, what, where, why, and how of whatever it is you need motivation around.
Ooh.
You know, and once you get clear with all of those different perspectives around that, if you're not motivated after mapping it out, then it's something you shouldn't spend more time doing, or
Ooh.
thinking about.
Okay.
If you can see it clearly, all of the key components of whatever it is, and you're not touch moved and inspired to take immediate action and towards it, let it go.
Oh.
Find something else that you can map that really gets you jazzed and inspired and ready to, run through brick walls kind of deal. Is what I would recommend. Definitely map that.
Ooh. Okay. So map for motivation, and if you
Hmm.
can't find it, scrap it. I like
Yeah.
that. Okay. Okay. Number 7, staying busy instead of getting honest.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I get it as far as using business to distract yourself from being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Am I hearing that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, see that's again something, busyness is just delaying something. When you're
Mm.
trying to instead of dealing with a challenge or dealing with the chaos or dealing with something that's significant but hard or tough that I know I need to address, instead of doing that, I'm just going to be busy doing a whole bunch of other random stuff. That thing is not going away. I mean, it's going to stay there. When you're done with all of that busy nonsense, you're going to turn back and it's still going to be there looking at you like, hey, So I would recommend just addressing, that honesty,
Mm-hmm.
and getting clear with that honesty. And again, if you map that out properly, you may find out all of that busyness was unnecessary, or at least you may redirect that busyness to busyness that's moving you forward to ultimately what you want to be or have.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. 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 It does. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then, let's see. So then that puts us at number 8, starting 5 new habits on the same Monday. Is that something you should map, or is that something that you should scrap?
Yeah. Again, I'm a,
It's who are you?
being the mapping guy that I am,
Yep, you're going to
everything
map it.
before I make any, decisions in my direction or my path or just anything, I have to make sure that I'm clear on my decision.
Mm,
I got to be absolutely clear on my options.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I scrap it, then what? You know, if I continue, then what? You know, where is this going to take me in the long run? You know,
Mm-hmm.
what if I do nothing? What is the circumstances? What am I faced with if I choose not to do something? You know, again, I would map all of that stuff out. Then you can start determining, you know, these new habits or goals that you're trying to establish on Monday, you know, how to best implement them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're going to do it all on Monday, that's fine. You know, but how are you going to properly implement them so they stick, so they last, and so they prove to be most fruitful, you know, in your efforts? Yeah, I would definitely map that, you know, and ultimately you may find out that instead of just doing it all Monday, maybe I just spread them out to one of them a week I'll focus on.
Ooh.
You know,
Okay.
and this would be my strategy. You know, on Monday I'm focusing on this one all day. These are the things I'm gonna do, and all of this can be on your map.
Mm-hmm.
Monday is this habit. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I got them all mapped out and exactly what I need to do and focus on each day to establish this more, or you know, to get more out of this.
Mm.
Uh,
Okay.
and your mind map can be a perfect tool for that.
Yeah. It sure does sound like a mind map can take care of a lot of problems all at once. So it's kind of like the Swiss Army knife for personal growth.
It is. It is. Absolutely, because you know it allows you to see the big picture of whatever it is you're thinking about,
Uh-huh.
but also drill down into all of the intricate details of what you're thinking about. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I want this, but then your map will actually walk you through all of the things you need to do to actually achieve this, and you can go as far down that wormhole if you as you choose to know exactly what you need to be thinking about. Your first thought in the morning
Mm-hmm.
that you need to have, wake up, you did mapped out. I need to think about
Mm-hmm.
this, then do that to make sure this becomes a habit.
Mm.
You know, that can all be visually on your map, that there's no ambiguity, there's no, you know, question
Yep.
about what you need to do moving forward because you can see
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So mind mapping is a Swiss Army knife of personal growth, and you're like the I guess camp scout, like the summer camp director, right?
Yeah, maybe so. You know, and there's one thing that I didn't mention, Keegan, that's very
What's that?
important that I want to share is that, you know, when those of us or people that have heard of mind mapping, you know, primarily they hear of it and they may utilize it in three ways. It's for brainstorming, like we just talked about, note
Mm-hmm.
taking, and project planning. You know, all your Fortune 500 companies use mind maps for these purposes. Most
Mm-hmm.
Ivy League schools are now teaching their students how to use mind mapping. But what I've found since I've been in this worldwide mind mapping community is that I'm the only one that's really talking about mind mapping as a personal development tool, to
Mm.
use it for problem solving, decision making, kind of like what we've been talking about here. So what I did is coin the phrase, or wanted to kind of distinguish my style of using a mind map, which is where Mappineering comes in.
Ah.
Mappineering, engineering beautiful mind maps to love life more, is the tagline. So when you or your viewers see me on social, you will hear me reference myself as the Mappineering mentor,
Okay.
because my style of using a mind map for personal development is called Mappineering in a word. How's
Gotcha.
that?
Yeah, thank you for pointing out that very important clarification, because that is something that sets you apart from everyone else.
Yeah.
And so, if you're also if you're the one wielding the Swiss Army knife for personal growth using Mappineering, then
Mhm.
you also have earned yourself the title the Mind Map Mechanic for retrieving sanity, because you rebuild broken mind blueprints and you also get the engine running again, just tuned up, even better.
Yes.
So,
I like that. I like that. The mechanic.
yeah, Mind Map Mechanic.
Mind
Um,
map mechanic. That rings. I love that.
So, real quick though, John, the name of this podcast is Retrieving Sanity, and we explore how all facets of living life impact our mental health. Looking at the
Mm-hmm.
incredibly motley adventures of your life, what does retrieving sanity personally mean to you today, and what's one practice or perspective you believe is crucial for anyone on that journey?
A mind map. I'm playing. But yeah, yeah. But as people, you can hear my story is that I've had numerous, numerous experiences where I could have lost my insanity. I mean, not just the stories I told you, but there's been some over the last 5, 6 years that were just really out of left field, unexpected events with family members and siblings and children and all of that stuff where I could have lost it. I could have went really way off in the edge. But I retrieved my sanity by mapping it out. I don't want to sound corny or like a broken record, but that
Uh-uh.
is my God's honest truth. Is
Yeah.
that what helped me from losing it when life threw me curveballs and life didn't meet my expectation or people disappointed me or betrayed me or done things to me that I didn't anticipate or foresee. Yeah, what kept me focused and managing that storm correctly was my I am mind map and just being able to visually see what's really going on, not from an
Mhm.
emotional standpoint that's really short sighted, one sided, oftentimes when we feel violated or life doesn't match our expectations. We take it personal. Why me? What am I doing wrong? And all that kind of stuff where
Mhm.
we lose our insanity. Yeah, our sanity. um, I immediately jumped into mind map to help me see what's really going on from a third person detached way to help me retrieve my sanity, and get back on my path, if you will, because now I have clarity and perspective about what's going on, not just one perspective that's emotionally, you know, damaged or affected by whatever's going on in my life. I was
Mhm.
able to gain perspective and and a path, if you will, to navigate that challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Um,
helped.
yeah, yeah, it does. And I just want to let you know that you do not sound like a broken record or anything like that. You sound very passionate about mind
Yeah.
maps and your whole system that you've created because it worked for you and it's worked for others. So, of
Mhm.
course, you're going to be passionate about it. You're trying to get it into our heads because if we all knew about it, we wouldn't need you and your help, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's you don't really need me per se. Like I said, you can grab a napkin and a piece of paper and start figuring this stuff out. I just present myself as a messenger and a guide, a
Hmm.
messenger to introduce people to this tool and present myself as a guide for people who may need, some help and support and some greater understanding on how to really maximize this tool,
Yep.
uh, to the fullest.
Yeah, and I love that. And so, real quick, before we sign off, it's johndiggs.com, right?
Yes, JOHNDIGGS, as in can you dig it?
Ooh. Well, John, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure having you on. And I hope that we get to see you in the future. And I also will make sure to have your profile all filled out on the website once it gets rebuilt. I'm working on
Yeah,
that, so give me a little bit. It's
yeah,
a
no worries.
one-man team here. But I really appreciate what you've done for yourself, for the world, and you just continue to do good things. And I can't wait to stay in touch because we're going to do some good things with Retrieving Sanity. So,
Please.
uh, everyone out there, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity with John Diggs and Keegan on WDJY 99.1 FM. And as always, find us on YouTube or wherever else you can find podcasts. But love yourself, love others if you can, but you gotta love yourself first, real quick. So, this has been John Diggs and Keegan once again, signing off.
Thank
Shalon.
you. Nice.
All right.
How was that, man? You like? It's good?
Yeah, yeah, it was good.
Good,